pastor. And so here we are today to introduce her. We've asked her to answer a few questions, and then after, I got a couple more call committee members joining us.
Hey, Rachel's smiling.
Curtis Simeo and George Kiriakis. Is that right?
The closest reading that who gave her that.
We're so excited to have her here. I don't want to take too much time. So with that, Rachel, there you are. Just real quickly, Rachel is here with her partner, Jason Garcia, who's back here. After service, we'll have some time to meet. For now, Rachel is going to introduce herself and answer a few questions we thought would help you all get to know her.
Thank you so much. Can you see me? Okay, good. Hi, everyone. My name is Rachel San Diego. My pronouns are she and her. And I just want to thank you all for welcoming me here.
How she has to say
meet
pronouns?
You all and to just be present in this worship service.
She has to say pronouns.
One of the questions that was asked of me is what motivates me to be a pastor. Wow. What a large and exciting and looming question. There are too many responses of what stops me and holds me back from being a pastor, but there are so many people and stories and experiences that keep drawing me forward. I had the red book on my lap as we were singing, and it felt similar to the weight of the Bible, and that brought me back to a time when I was younger and I was scared sleeping by myself, and so I had the Bible at my feet just so whenever the fears would roll in, I could just touch it with my toe and know it was there. When I think of the weight of the Bible, I think of the stories and of the people and the ways the people intersect with one another, the stories of hardship and challenge and violence and volatility and weeping and grief and excitement and joy and connectivities and death and birth and rebirth and angels and mysterious things happening. And then I think of the stories and the people I have walked alongside that have humbled me, that have brought me to my knees. I think of, I used to teach youth who were unhoused and incarcerated, and youth who were in rehabilitation for substance use, and I would go in there with my knowledge and wisdom and my workshop and curriculum ready to teach, and I would be brought down on my knees because I had so much to learn. Through them, I learned what it means of overcoming hardship and the expansiveness of the love and joy that could be found in hard places. I worked with leaders in community in working to solve and prevent social issues like going back to detrimental substance use and homelessness, self-harm, early teen pregnancy, suicide, and preventing power and control-based violence at home, in the workplace, and in public. And I learned it takes each and every one of us. That it's not just one entity and it's not just one person or one group, but it's all of us coming together. And always it brought me back to the stories of Jesus and forgiveness and love and reaching out to the stranger and learning who our neighbors were and finding that which is sacred in the most unexpected places, like in Times Square, at the bus stop, walking outside. I do pilgrimages, and on one of the pilgrimages, it's about 1,000 kilometers in Europe, the Camino de Santiago, and at the very end, I can't remember exactly where I was, but I remember there was another woman, and we just got to talking, and she told me, I'm an atheist, and I don't know what is happening, but I'm talking to my family about the way and about things moving inside me, and that there's something when I touch things that I can't even see. I don't know how to explain it. Why is this happening? And just the way that God moves in people in mysterious and unexpected ways. Those things motivate me to be a pastor. What brings you joy within ministry? Oof. I just loved how you went through your sermon, Pastor Casey, and we went line by line through the Bible. I could do that all day with folks. Just being present, getting to hear from people's perspectives, from their stories, from their knowledge base, from their experiences, from their curiosities. How did they interpret the Bible? And how differently it is based on cultures and experiences and backgrounds. And then sharing myself. And then finding who's in that story, but who's not in the story, who's talked about in the story, but we don't get to hear about them. Whose names don't we really know, but their stories are just as important. I love hearing and seeing how little things connect in the Bible that you wouldn't even imagine. Oh my goodness. I love how in times of deep grief and hardship, we could sing songs or hum melodies and the soothing of the heart and just being present with one another. Pastor Casey talked about the loneliness epidemic, and when I think about joy, I think about not just being happy, but finding hope in the midst of despair. Flipping something on, someone had told me, just flip it on its head. To recognize there's not just one perspective, but the many. I think about what brings me joy outside. For me, it goes back to hardship. I like to put myself out there and do things that I never thought possible. I talked to you all about going on a pilgrimage. I do pilgrimages. I don't like camping. I don't like getting dirty. But I did about 1,000 miles on the Pacific Crest Trail, only having camped twice before then. And my biggest fear was setting up the tent and what that would be like. And I did it. And just seeing, I helped out at the same time, a race my partner does. You'll get to meet him after. He's an ultra runner, so he does these long and vast runs. And I helped out as a volunteer at one of the big runs, and I was like, I am on a mantra of yes, even though I am scared. And so we had to also work, I'm sorry to share some of this, but it's a human being with some of the biohazards, and some of it spilled. So there's some poop messes, and we had gloves on and mask on, and I was so grossed out, and I said yes, I'm getting in the car and I'll be one of the people that hands it out. And so in that moment, it was disgusting, and I was horrified. But after I thought, wow, I could do those things. I could be a part of things that gross me out. What is a rewarding experience? I looked back because the call committee had been, or not, the council had been up here. And at one of our interviews, someone had asked, earlier ministry or the work before, what has been a rewarding experience? And we had just a couple minutes left, and I thought, wow, this question is so large to ask with just a couple minutes. And there were two stories I was holding, and I shared the one, but when I went home, the other just kept tossing in my heart, and I just kept holding it. I had spent a month up in Holden Village, and I had helped at one of the services and shared with folks that I was preparing for ministry and to be a pastor. And that week they are in Holden Village, they'll invite facilitators to come and teach. And one of the facilitators was a non-binary Asian person, or of Asian descent, and they taught somatic therapy and somatic teaching and moving and through movement and the body, and I was just in awe of them and all that I can learn from them. And after towards the end of the week, the facilitators get to host our last worship service with them, and they took us through. They facilitated a somatic movement throughout with the whole church, and they asked us to go back into our childhood and to remember and hold what was a longing and desire that they had. And so we all sat with that as a congregation. And then afterwards, they spoke about their own longing and desire as a young queer child. And their longing and desire had been to see someone like them up at the pulpit teaching and preaching, and the joy it had brought them to see me up there teaching and preaching. Oh, my heart. And so that, just to hear this person speak and to hear that has been a rewarding experience for me. I also didn't get to see women, first off, even just the acceptance of queer people in the church, and even just the multiplicity of acceptance and invitation of who gets to come up here and receive communion. And so getting to be brought back into that space where I was a child and then here today. Even me just being up here for myself is a rewarding experience. Thank you.
She's so smart.
Applause don't feel appropriate, but maybe we could actually, well, we're gonna have community prayers, but I actually feel called to just pray right now. Holy God, we thank you for Rachel. We thank you for the courage that you have continued to move in her, and we thank you for her sharing. And we pause for a moment to just give thanks for her, the fullness of who she is, to process and receive the gifts that she has shared. Help us to not move too quickly to notice the gift of her and her sharing. We continue as we pray the prayers of the people.